Hello, this is Eliza, the creator of Tiny Pumpkin Press. Thank you so much for your purchase. And I have made this video for you today to help you create your book for your classroom, whether you want to make a paper version that you'll laminate and have on the shelf, or if you're teaching virtually, we've got a couple of choices for digital versions to make. One in PowerPoint and one on Google Slides. So we'll get started. Okay, I always like to start just by pointing out all the different templates that are available. In the instructions, there's a link to the Google Slides template. We'll take a look at that later. We're going to start with the family book template. And this is the template that is designed to be printed either single or double-sided. There are covers and photo pages and backs of pages as well. And the easiest way to go about making your own book is to start a new PowerPoint file. Delete what's there and then head on over to Design and Slide Size, and we're going to set up a custom slide size to be 8.5 by 11 inches. Because again, we're just printing this on letter size paper. And now we're going to go back into the original download, and I'm going to select the cover in the back. And the first page I definitely want to use, and I'm going to copy and go back into my new file and paste them. Delete that very first slide. And now I just want to give this file a title and to make sure to save it. So before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and edit the tag on the front cover. So I gave it the name of my classroom for this year. This is just a sample book, and I realized afterwards that I still think it's 2019-2020. Anyhow, I am going to rename this and save it, and now it'll just be clear which one's going to be turned into my book, and then the family book template will just be where I'm going to copy and paste all my pages from. So I'm just going to go in and add some more pages into my book just by copying and pasting those templates. I'll just say that, again, as I mentioned before, this is a sample book, so I'm just using photos of my own children and my nieces and nephews, and the children in this book are going to have more than one page. In real life, each student will have one page, and on that page they will have photos of everybody in their family. I'm just going to point out something quick. This is the back cover of the book, and I realize there's a back of a page there, and I actually don't need that slide. I'm just going to delete it, so the back of that yellow photo page will just be the back page, the back cover of the book. Otherwise, there would just be a blank page there, which I don't need. All right, we're going to start to put some photos into this book. So I opened up the first photo page, and this is a great page if somebody got their whole family into one big family photo. So I just drag the photo in there and use the corner tool to fit it into the frame. Got lucky that time and it fit perfectly by just dragging it. And now I'm going to just edit the text to add child's name there, and then once I put in the names, I like to make them as big as possible. And now this is same child, but let's say they couldn't manage to get the whole family into the same photo, so we get the whole family represented in 3 photos. And in this case, I was able to drag the photo to make it smaller, but then I also needed to use the crop tool to further fit it inside the photo frame. And you can see that sometimes getting each photo to fit exactly inside the frame can be a little bit time consuming, but I really do think that it is worth all that time investment to have this book inside your classroom all year long. Children have free access to it the way they would any other book in the library, and then they really can reach for it anytime. Sometimes it's just a little comforting to be able to take a quick peek at family photos, but also just as kids get comfortable and they start to know each other and they pull it off the shelf, they'll really start to talk to each other about their families as well. So it's a really great jumping off point for conversation, which is what books should be. I just wanted to talk for a minute about putting this photo in because it's a vertical photo in a horizontal photo frame, And I really was initially worried by how much of people's bodies I would have to chop off to make it fit. So in those situations, I just think it's always really important to remember that the most important thing is that children can recognize themselves and recognize the people in their families. And as long as they can do that, then the photo has served its purpose. All right, I just want to show you that here I actually don't need that single photo page, so I clicked on the slide itself to delete it, and now I'm going to go back into that original template and click on the slide and copy, and then paste here, and then I'm going to click send to back so that I can see the text box there and move it into the right place. And I'm just going to quickly go back here. I forgot to add a name to this tag, and as I mentioned before, I like to make it nice and big so children can see the letters. If they're noticing that sort of thing, you can make reference to it if you're teaching, if that's part of your curriculum. All right, once all those photos are in, this is ready to print, and I'm going to send this one to print on both sides, flipping on the long edge. But I do want to show you that if you want all those backs of pages that don't have any photos, you can delete those, and then you can send your book to print single-sided, and all that will happen if you do that is that the backs of pages will be white. And there's really no reason that it can't be. It will save you a lot of ink, so it's just a matter of how you care about how your book will look. I wanted to show you something else you can do with those backs of pages. Now, I'm not going to delete the slides themselves, but just the picture of the back of the page. And this template also comes with this text add-on. So let's say you did want to have more words in your book, not just children's names. So you can select all and copy, and then go ahead into your book template and paste. And now you can start to edit the text boxes to give more information about every child's family. And you can do this in lots of ways. If you have older children, they might be involved in the writing of this book. If you have younger children, younger students, they can dictate it to you, and you can later go back and put it into this book. And I realized that you could also have two versions of this book. One that's just photos and people's names, and then later in the year it could have more information about everybody's family. Because of the lines on this book, I tend, as you can see, I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting to add more information or more text. Just hitting enter to get to the next line just doesn't line up the text on to the lines of the page, and so that's why I'm using copy and paste and moving the text where I want it to go. Again, it's a visual thing, and if children are involved in making this, it might come out much different or much differently. And the reason that I am using copy and paste and not just starting a new text box on each line is just because then I would have to reformat the text box every time with the size and the font that I want. And this way, when I copy it and paste it, all of that is set up and I can just change the text. And now I'm going to just paste this same page again that's already filled out for Neely. And again, now it's formatted the way that it needs to be, and I can just edit it for Sam's pages. And right away you can see one of the things that gets added by adding this text is parents are called different things. Neely's mother and father are Ima and Daddy. Sam's are Mommy and Tati. So that is something that kind of comes out when you get to add some more information into this book. And then when all your pages with text are done, once again you can set it to print on both sides. And you will have a really meaningful book in your classroom. All right, let's take a look at the next template, which is the family book for slideshow. And this template was initially designed so that if you're teaching virtually, you can still share this book with your class, whether you share it on your screen or make it available to them to look at on their own, and I'll walk you through all those steps. But first, let's take a close look at a single slide. Instead of having just one page or one image on it, it will be an open page book. So there will be two movable images, the left-hand side of the page and the right-hand side of the page. And attached to that photo side of the page on the right are also those rings. That will just give it the appearance of a book. Now, to start editing, we're going to do the same thing we did the last time, and that is to start a blank presentation. And just like before, we'll delete those boxes, go to Design and Slide Size, Custom Slide Size. But this time, we're going to set it up as 17 by 11, because again, it's a 2-page spread. All right, and then just like before, we're going to go back and forth between the two documents, the original template and the new one that we created. And just like before, I copied the first slide, pasted it into the new document, and now I'm just editing the title and the date, and again, get the date wrong. And I'm just going to save it under a new name so it's just clear which document that I am working with. So here is my new document. I'm going to go back to the original one and start to copy slides, paste them into my book, then go back. I'm going to get the next page where I know I'm going to need 3 photos again and copy and paste it again. And now I accidentally copied 2 things, so just deleted one. I just wanted to show you something again about those backs of pages. So we can think of this as a full page pink, a full pink page of a book, or we can think of that left-hand side as the back of the previous page, which is orange and blue. So for this book, I am going to think of it that way. So then I do want to go back to the original template and copy and paste just the left-hand side of an orange and blue page and paste it onto the left-hand side of my book. And then once I paste it, I'm going to right-click and choose Send to Back, so it just ends up behind those rings there. So I'm going to walk you through that step one more time. So again, we'll head back to the original document, copy the entire slide, and head back to the book and paste it. This time I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to insert a new slide because I'm going to need that yellow back of the page on the next slide. So I'm just going to cut it out there and paste it into the next slide. And now I'll go back to the original document again to get that pink back of the page and copy it and paste it. And don't forget to send to back, which I don't think I did in this video, but do as I say, not as I do. All right, now for the last page I'm going to insert here, I don't need the whole slide, so I'm just going to click on that right side, but I'm also going to select the text box and copy and then paste into my document. And now here, that is going to be the last page of my book. So now I'm going to insert the back cover. So before I get the back cover, I'm going to just copy that left-hand slide, that gray rectangle. That's all it is. And I'm going to copy it from the first slide and paste it into the last slide and then just move it over to the right, because when this book is closed, it's just going to be closed on the other side. So now that that's there, I'll go back again to the original document. All the way on that last slide will be the back cover. Copy. And you guess what's coming next? We're going to paste it right there. And now I want to quickly show you what it looks like when you go to Slideshow and play from the beginning. This is what I mean that it will look like a book. But I do want to show you that I made a mistake here. Those last 2 slides the pages did not turn the way I intended, and I realize it's because I inserted a new slide in this document. When I copied and pasted a whole slide from the previous document, it kept that formatting. But if you remember, I inserted a new slide and pasted just the yellow back of page and the blue front of the page. So I need to fix that formatting on slide number 5 and slide number 6. So I'm just going to select both of them, clicking Control and clicking on both of them, and going to Transition and Page Curl. And that's just going to make sure that all of my pages are turning. And I just did a little test. So now you can see what it will look like when all the pages are turning. Everything is set up except it has no photos. So this system for putting in those photos are exactly the same as it was in the first template. And so we're just going to skip ahead to when all the photos are into this book. And now you can see what it will look like when it plays as a slideshow, and you can just click on the mouse to turn on the page. But I would also really recommend this next step, which is to go to save as an MPEG-4 or an MP4 file. And that's just going to save this book as a video. And so you could either, if you're meeting in a way so that your students can see your screen, you can just play a slideshow from PowerPoint, or you can save this video. Now you won't be able to turn the page on demand, but you can always pause the book at any point that you need to. And then the thing I really like about saving it as the MP4 is that it makes it really easy to share in other ways, such as uploading to Google Drive. If you upload a PowerPoint slideshow to Google Drive, it doesn't keep the same formatting. So that's why I really like the video. Again, if you watch it with your students, if you're meeting virtually, I think it's such an important and great way for children to start to share a little bit about themselves and to get to know each other. And if you are meeting in person and you have this printed book in your classroom, this actually does also give you the option of sending a copy home with each student, or making a copy available for each student to look at home or with their families, and you don't need to print a copy for everybody. All right, but guess what? You still have more options. If you remember our text pages, we can delete those backs of pages, those solid sides, go to the text add-on, copy and paste the entire slide or all the elements from that slide and paste it into your book. This time make sure to send it to back, and you can go ahead and do that for each photo page to delete the back of the page, copy, paste, and send to back, and then edit all of the text that is there. All right, and so once it's all in there and once it's all edited, we're just going to take a quick peek, just because again I think it looks great when it's all completed. All right, my friends, we are ready to check out Google Slides. When you click that link, it's going to say make a copy. Click that and you will have the entire template. Here the instructions are going to be part of the template. But just as before, we're going to do what we did in PowerPoint, and we're going to need a new file to work with. So in this case, I went to File and Make a Copy, and you can choose to select just some of the slides. I'm going to start with the entire presentation, making a copy of it. And then I'm going to rename it, so again, I know which is my original file that has everything intact and which is the one that is going to have all of my changes. So I just renamed that. And I'm going to have the whole document including the instructions, so I'm just going to delete those right away. And then as you can see, it's really set up the same way as the PowerPoint template is that was designed for the slideshow. So we're going to work with it the same way. The only difference is there I was copying and pasting from one document into the new document, and here I am mostly moving slides into the order that I want them to be, but then I'm still using copy and paste to change some of those left-hand sides, or the backs of pages as I've been calling them. And just one of the things that's different when after you paste a page and you right click, it says order, and that's how you send to back. So just the wording there is a little bit different. All right, and in this document, something else that's different is that the text add-on is all the way on the last slide. So if you scroll all the way down, but then you're going to work with it the same way, select the background, select all the text boxes, and copy, and then paste them in place of where those backs of pages would be. Okay, now I'm just going to set this book back the way it was without those text pages, and we are going to be ready to start inserting some photos. The process again is the same as in PowerPoint. I'll just do 1 or 2 examples to show you. Again, you're going to drag your photo in there and use that corner tool to resize it. To edit the text box, the tags, you're just going to click on it and rename, and then up at the top again, there's in Google Slides, there's a plus sign for making it bigger. And I've mentioned a few times I really love making it really big and as visible as possible. And I really kind of like this very clean and simple font that is available in Google Slides. And here I'll just show you the crop tool is just right on that top toolbar, so that after you make a photo smaller, you can then crop it to fit into the rectangles. And so now I've got all my photos in. I'm going to delete that last slide with the text add-on, and I've deleted all the other slides that I'm not using. And I went up to present, and this is what the slideshow will look like in Google Slides. There isn't that page turning effect that you can do in PowerPoint, but it is still a wonderful way to read it with your class if you're sharing your screen. You could also go to File and then Download, and I like to download it as a PDF. And then you can share your PDF screen with your students, or you can actually just upload the PDF to your Drive or to whatever other platform that you're using. And again, children and families can access it that way. As I mentioned, I really love the video, but I have used this format, the PDF format, with classes, and it certainly gave us the same rich experience of reading a book together. All right, thank you so much. I know this was a long video chock full of information, so I hope you can find what you need, but you could always email me at elisadeutsch@tinypumpkinpress.com. So good luck to you and good luck to teaching this school year. I think we are all going to need it.